I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings in the movies, and I'm not proud of my address.
We're not just building muscle, we're building men. In the quiet hours, in the unfiltered moments, in the conversations that happen before the world wakes up. This is the Glue-OOM, where brotherhood forms in the dark so we can lead in the light, where vulnerability is strength and leadership is handed from man to man, one story at a time. Our mission is to empower, exhort, and inspire men to achieve their best selves through stories of reinvigorated male community leadership. We bring you weekly interviews with F3 Omaha PAX, ordinary men doing extraordinary things in fitness, fellowship, faith, and leadership, because we believe that every man has a story, and reinvigoration starts when that story is shared. This is the Glue in the Gloom. Shout out to our sponsors, Avior Wealth Management, Liberty Core Real Estate, Major Team Mortgage, Exclusively Eye Care, Omaha Laser Dentistry, and McNamara Law Firm. We appreciate your support. Liberty Core Real Estate is your homegrown real estate broker. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, whether personal or investment, Armando, aka Brian, and Megan Michaels' company is ready to serve you. With Command Center in Old Town Elkhorn and agents all throughout the metro, they are more than ready to guide and serve you in your next real estate endeavor. Whether your next move needs to happen now or in 5 years, call or text Armando at 402-770-2165 to get your questions answered. And a special offer for F3 Nation PAX members, Liberty Core will donate $250 to your sponsor of choosing for every closed transaction. Stop looking, start finding today with Liberty Core Real Estate. Now, let's get back to the gloom. And we're live. We're back. We're live. We're at the Nomad in Old Town Elkhorn. I got my man Bernie on. Just excited to get this guy's story. I think, I don't get to claim that I live in Bennington proper. I'm a little west of there, but man, you're just one of these guys from Bennington that I just feel like has become a good friend, somebody that I get to call friend, and just get to know you and your family and all the ways you give back to the community. I'm just excited to get your story. So.
I appreciate that. We'll claim you. You're close enough.
Okay, close enough.
I think it'd be smart for us to claim you.
Far enough north, but I'm also far enough west,
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I'm right by Bennington Road. So
yeah. You're there. You're there.
Yeah.
You're Bennington.
Okay.
Like it or not.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So kind of thinking about your F3 journey, would love to hear kind of that EH story, kind of who invited you out, and then talk us through how you got the name Bernie and what was that first workout like? Would love all
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. So I was introduced to F3 by Stripes.
Oh, okay.
And actually
Bennington, what do we call him now? The grandfather?
Yeah, kind of the OG, I think is what a lot of people call him.
Yeah.
He earned that. But we were actually at Dinger's house.
Okay.
And this was prior to Dinger knowing about F3.
Yeah.
And he has an annual pickleball tournament.
Oh, nice. That's kind of
that gets rather interesting. Yeah. And he brought it up to me there. And I had been working out a little bit, mostly in the gym.
Yeah.
And decided to just give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually the first Badger Point pop-up.
Oh, wow.
That I attended.
Okay.
And so I remember, Pantyhose led it, and it was extremely tough. I felt like the amount of cardio compared to what I was used to doing was tough. And I was really nervous going into it. And I was telling Stripes, I'm like, look, man, I don't have the cardio strength to be able to do this. And he's like, he always said, if you can run a mile, you can do it. And, and I don't know if that's right, but regardless, I showed up, and I remember the next day being fairly fatigued. And probably a lot like a lot of the PAX members. It was, I started like once a week, and then got going twice a week, and then just got to know people. And honestly, that helped.
Yeah.
The more I just got to know people, the more comfortable I felt, the more welcomed I felt.
Yeah.
And, then shortly thereafter, I think I was only a month or two in, and then it was, 4 or 5 days a week. So yeah.
What and man, I'm thinking of Penny. I think I might have been there for that
Yeah, I
workout.
think you were. I remember I believe it was well, I know it was Pantyhose, and I believe maybe Chucky was in on that too.
Oh yeah.
And I remember shortly thereafter, it was after a Bennington Scott football game where there's a really questionable call in an end zone. I remember all the banter back and forth, and I was like, this is going to be okay. Because I enjoy being parts of groups where there's banter and you don't have to feel bad about making fun of somebody, and you can expect it to come right back at you.
Yeah,
so
maybe Cataracts was there. He's
yeah,
a big Scott guy.
Yeah, there was. And again, that was kind of early on in the Bennington days per se. So yeah.
Well, I mean, with the pristine field down there in Bennington that I think just this last year got on, we're able to get on.
Yeah, we couldn't touch it back then. We could only look at it. So.
Like, man,
looked
that'd
nice.
Be cool. Yeah. What talk us through the name?
Man, the name's actually a fairly embarrassing story, one that I'm not all that proud of, but it was you're told to get in the middle, and Stripes had warned me about this. Think of some interesting stories, that you can tell everybody. That helps come up with a name. So I had, and I was in there telling stories, and everybody was throwing out names, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, "Oh, tell them the story about the time in Cancun you claimed you're overserved," and so I did, and it may have involved a wheelchair. So then it came back as Bernie from the movie. So
nice. I love it. So Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Man, that's funny. Yeah. It's you like having guys there that but if they know you really well.
Oh yeah. I remember just thinking, oh man, do I really have to tell this story? It's going to stick. I know it is.
Have you adjusted? Do you like the name? Is it?
Oh yeah. I love the name. Yeah. I can claim when we run backwards, it's my exercise.
Yeah. The Bernie. Yeah. For sure.
It stuck. It works great. So.
Yeah. And that's Bernie Lomax, right? Not Bernie Sanders.
Right. Exactly right. Yes.
I love
Make that clear.
What, so you were working out in the gym, talk me through kind of the progression from this first physical fitness standpoint. As you started posting, did you start pre-running, or did that cardio game kind of?
Yeah. So again, it did over time. And, I started running. For me, I was scared to do it just because I had never really done it before.
Yeah.
And, so I was mixing in, kind of not doing the pre-runs, but showing up 10, 15 minutes early and trying to progress in that nature.
Sure.
And honestly, it was shortly thereafter I Dinger. And I told him, I was like, hey man, let's work on this together. And so him and I would show up together, and you'd have a running partner that wasn't a full, 5K or pre-run. And we'd battle it out together and suffer together. And, and it just progressed from there. So it was nice to have, a partner. And then there were more people that joined us too. And I think that's a cool part about seeing these new members join is not everybody's in a certain peak physical shape, and being able to, whether it's a ruck or it's a shorter pre-run, and then shortly, Plague, it won't take very long and you're doing the whole thing. So, yeah.
Well, man, and I feel like we haven't interviewed Dinger yet, but man, I feel like at some point he went sort of balls to the wall and was running sub 8.
Yeah. I remember, it's just what happened to my Dinger that I could run with before? What happened to you? So he's much surpassed me in the pre-run realm. That's for sure.
Yeah. Did you go to any coupon sites or weight sites, or did that kind of come into the mix at all?
I did. It was a while. And again, it's like just learning about F3 when it's a lot early. It's massive overload of just information and getting used to the PaxNet, site, and just the F3 Omaha site, and just understanding the intricacies of all the different sites. I was probably 6 months in till I even realized what Block Party was.
Oh yeah.
And I fell in love with that site. I absolutely love that site. And, not to say that one of the things that's helped me the most was the running and the cardio. So I still tried to do that.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, I learned about Red Wings and the Murph. And so really, really enjoyed that part of it as well.
Did you do the Murph challenge and all that stuff?
I did the first year and completed the Murph challenge. This year I got injured a few weeks into it and had to bow out, but I do enjoy the Murph challenge, and even carrying the Murph challenge over all year long too. I really enjoy that. Yeah.
So were you one of those guys that did all year? You're trying to do a certain number of?
I try to do them all year. I've never really kept track though. But typically in the winter months, I try to get one in a week, maybe two.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, it's really fun to hit it hard with all those other guys doing the Murph challenge for sure.
I feel like Star-Lord and maybe Truly one year they were trying to do 100 or
Yeah, I mean,
like
and this past year between Edger and Mr. Rogers, I mean, it's just a massive amount.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just second nature to them anymore. Yeah.
You
yeah.
still go to the gym every once in a while? Or?
I do. So typically 3 times a week I'll try to go over like whether it's after work or maybe I'll skip a beat down and go to the gym too. But I mean, honestly, I it's not as fun. It's hard. Man, you know how it is. I always joke with the guys there's been some Mondays where I've missed a Murph and I've felt guilty. And so I go to the gym and try to do the Murph on my own. Like, this is a lot harder on my own than it is suffering with other guys. So,
man, it seems like it takes longer and it's way harder to get through.
It's just miserable by yourself.
Yeah. What, when you think about, I guess the other question I'd have for you, fitness growing up, like did you play sports or was that kind of part of your routine I guess where'd you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up out in west central Nebraska in a little town called Hershey. So I grew up very isolated area. The closest town to my house is 10 miles away.
Oh wow.
So really grew up out in the sticks.
Yeah.
And but yeah, sports were always a really huge thing in my life and my family's life as well. And so played high school sports and did not play beyond that, but always have loved playing sports outside.
What'd you play?
I played basketball, football, and golf.
Okay. So you're kind of...
And then in baseball growing up too, but my high school was so small we did not have...
Didn't have a baseball team.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Correct.
So kind of a three sport varsity athlete.
Yeah. Which is pretty easy to do in the town I grew up in.
Yeah. I love it. So where are you at now when you think about kind of that fitness realm? Do you feel like you've hit some of your goals or have you, I don't know, had any transformation in that area?
Certainly. Yeah. I, and it ebbs and flows. I'm sure much like everybody, but, it seems like in the summer, fall, spring months, it's a lot easier to really keep that fitness goal and obtain it. And I, there was a time where I was just so focused on trying to lose weight. And I just felt like I could do it, but it didn't feel sustainable thereafter. Yeah. And so I've sort of, migrated to feeling comfortable in a certain range of pounds per se, I guess you could say, and just trying to do better on a job on like just toning and things like that. So I feel good about where I'm at. There's always room for improvement and some weeks are better than others, but I mean, no doubt about it. Just posting every morning. I mean, as long as you post every morning and start your day off right, you'll maintain at least, if not improve for sure. Yeah. And I think, the more you can get out and do the pre-runs and the Smurfs and, the better off you'll be as well, for sure.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I struggle with, trying to, what they say, out king my queen. I always am sort of like, well, I did this workout. So like I ran the half this weekend. So I'm like, sure, we can go get ice cream on a random Monday night.
Well, and the more you do all these things, like whether it's just posting. I remember when I got to the point where I was just doing pre-stuff every day too, and then posting. And then for some reason it felt like if I didn't do pre-stuff, the post the beatdown maybe wasn't just quite enough. But then I remember one time just having this epiphany, like, well, maybe I'm not going as hard as I can during the beatdown itself, because when I pre-run or Smurf, I'm fairly fatigued during the beatdown, and I find myself, maybe not going as hard as I possibly could because I'm tired, right? Yeah. So there's that too. I think there's some opportunity there if you do just only do beatdowns to do everything correct, make sure your form's right, don't skip a rep and go hard. Right?
Yeah,
I think there's some opportunity there.
Who was I watching this morning? Red Dirt, and just impeccable form on his Merkins, thinking like, okay, I could probably do. I
can sit here in front of you, stare you in the face, and say that Red Dirt's never missed a rep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep, and always done them with perfect form. Yeah, that's one thing he's known for.
Yeah. It could be. I like that though, because that's if a guy wants to get sleep and maybe skip the pre stuff, and that's I will say we started this book study and we do that before And on those days, I do find myself like, okay, I got to pick it up, right? I can go a little bit harder during the workout.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
What you mentioned injury. How
Mhm.
have you dealt with that over the years, or what are you doing okay
I've
right
been
now?
really, really fortunate. Yeah, I been really fortunate. But back in it was June or July, we were like 3 weeks into the Murph competition.
Oh yeah.
Never had a back problem in my life, never. And we were smurfing out at Beacon Valley, and
Mm.
something just slipped, and yeah,
Uh-oh.
I was a mess for about 3 weeks. I had to sit out for about 3 weeks, and
Wow.
I'll be honest, it's in the back of my mind now,
Yeah.
and I've been watching myself a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
Maybe not going quite as hard with all the pre stuff.
Yeah.
Tapering it off to just a time or two a week, and going harder during the beatdowns. We'll see if that lasts.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah. Did you go see a chiropractor? Or
I
just
did.
rest
Yeah, I worked with a
and-
chiropractor
yeah.
for every day for about 2 weeks straight.
Wow.
He
So
got me right.
You really
He
tweaked
got me
something.
right. Yeah. It was. I don't know much about it. I don't know
Yeah.
much about back injuries because I've never had one. But he showed me the X-ray, and then just one of the, I don't know, it was like the L2 or 3 was just out. And
Like a slip disc.
yeah, it
basically.
just slipped out. And so,
Wow.
yeah, he said we'd work on it for 2 weeks, and then if he couldn't get it right, we'd have to probably go in there and fix it. But
Wow.
yeah, we were just consistent about it, and he did a great job. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm good to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I do. That's like my biggest fear, right? Because if I can't post, I only get to post 3 days a week, and so I like cherish that time. So
Yeah.
if I didn't, I think I would still show up and just
Yeah.
walk or I don't know, cheer the guys on. I don't know. It's just like I think that fellowship piece, and you kind of alluded to that, but I guess talk me through because when you joined,
Mhm.
would have been right at this time. Bennington's kind of starting to blow up.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming you had to post kind of outside of Bennington. So how did you go about building some of those relationships and getting to know the guys?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think when I first started, it was definitely obviously Badger Point. I was thinking Bunstown was
We launched those.
rolling
Yeah.
as well.
We launched them the same week, but to be clear, just if Stripes is listening, Badger Point launched first.
Yeah.
Just,
There you go.
okay, Stripes. I don't know. Badger was first. But yeah, it was actually the same exact week. I
Okay.
believe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was obviously trying to hit those two. And then, like I said, shortly thereafter, Red Wings was a really good one for me, kind of introduced me to the Murph. And then, yeah, I really enjoyed moving out, even further west out to Beacon Valley.
Mhm.
Enjoy those. And it seemed like at first sort of that, the Bennington crew and that
Mhm.
Valley crew were sort of all intermingled because there weren't,
Yeah.
a ton of sites out that far north or west. And obviously now that's changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was many other sites within sort of central Omaha that I really became fond of. And the best part about it, like you just alluded to, was when you go to those sites, it was just meeting new people and getting to know people and just how welcoming everyone was.
Yeah.
Out because early on in my F3 journey, all I knew were the few Bennington folks, and at the time when I joined, I don't believe there were
weren't
a ton of
no.
Bennington folks.
Yeah, because we had
Involved.
like the berm you could kind of
Yep.
call was maybe like
That's a good-
touching on that Bennington area, but I don't know that true Bennington proper was
The berm I frequent too, and then also just all the ones here in Elkhorn too.
Yeah.
So the Armory and that type of thing.
What was it? Did you go to coffee or just mumble chatter during the beatdowns? Like, how did you kind of develop
Yeah,
relationships?
it's funny. I remember probably my first month, and this is just how I'm wired. I would go to the beatdown, and I kind of wanted to go to coffee, but
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I knew anybody well enough to go to coffee.
Oh, interesting.
And I remember finally just doing it
Yeah.
one time, and I thought to myself, why didn't I do this the first time
Yeah.
I posted? So, as you know, the mumble chatter and pre-runs or Smurfs, and the coffee afterwards, the fellowship part is just as important. It's just as rewarding almost as the beatdown itself. Yeah.
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 So you also, I think, were pretty instrumental in bringing in some of those Bennington guys. So talk me through, like, at what point were you like, okay, I got to start EHing some other guys? Was that?
It was pretty early.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it early, and
Yeah.
I was like, man, I got to spread the word on this because I knew a lot of people that liked fitness that were former athletes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my mind went was, I started just thinking of people,
Yeah.
and I made it a point every week to send a text to one person a day. And that lasted I probably did that for about a month.
Yeah.
And as a lot of is the hit rate was minimal.
Yeah.
But there was a while there, and I have a bunch that I've almost got to come out and didn't.
Yeah.
A bunch that have come out and stuck with it and are really succeeding, and a bunch that came out and then maybe decided it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
So I just made it a point to just mention it, and it, like you say, you never know if you don't ask, right?
Right.
And so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The well's starting to get a little drier now. I can't think of as many people as I used to. But as you know, the tree, the olive branch just expands upon that. And, you ask one person, they ask three, and next thing you know, your whole neighborhood's coming. So
it's been so cool to see. And then like the Riptide, I was talking to Biscuits last night, and like the Riptide, we have all these guys. It's sort of like there's these little pockets of like untapped, he was naming off all these guys, and I'm sort of like, I don't think I know any of those guys. Like I got to get over to the Riptide. He's got all these guys doing their VQs over there.
Stripes and Dinger and I were talking this morning. It's like we were, you look at the F3 schedule, that Sunday around noon or whatever. I'm sure everybody's just refreshing the way. I just can't wait to see what it looks like. And I look at VQs and I'm like, I used to know them all. And that's great. And that's just how much it's grown is a lot of these people that are doing their VQs. I'm like, I don't know that person, and it might be somewhere out Northwest. That's how much it's grown.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is.
So you've got all this growth in Northwest. You start getting more folks that right, starting to show up. Has it had any impact on some of those existing relationships? Like maybe guys that you knew, but now that they've shown up to F3, have those relationships grown at all?
Oh, certainly. I mean, there was a lot of the people that I asked to come out, or maybe people that I EH'd and then they EH'd that I knew of. I would say for sure. I mean, a lot of these people I hung around with, or we saw because our kids cross paths or something. Socially we do cross paths. I mean, they're getting to know those folks is just escalated. I mean, it's just, you spend time from 4:30 to 6:30, maybe 3-4 times a week. And then you see it progress even further than that. And then it progresses even further for you in your relationships with these folks outside of F3.
Yeah.
As you know, it's like F3 is like this vehicle to gain all these relationships. And I find it as much fun to take those relationships outside of F3 as well, whether it's socially or professionally. That's been a lot of fun as well.
Because you're pretty active in the Bennington community as well, right?
Yeah, I try to be. I've been very involved in youth sports organizations. Since I moved to Bennington, I think it was about 6 years ago or so. Tried to stay involved in that, something I have passion for. And then now I've sort of migrated out of that. And like, for example, I'm the president of the Bennington Booster Club. And so, stay super involved in that area as well. And try to do fundraisers still, put on a couple fundraisers every year for some youth sports organizations in Bennington. And I enjoy it. I really, really do. Yeah.
And so you get to help kind of fund the new high school. That's part of your job.
Pay my taxes.
Yeah. I forget who it was when they were talking about the new school and the taxes. Somebody, I think it was maybe Dinger, kind of jokingly was like, "Yeah, these needy kids in Bennington, they need your money." What when you mentioned like you fell in love with F3, what was that? What do you think made you feel like, okay, I got to start giving this away?
Yeah, I started to see some progression in my fitness. And then it was the fellowship for me. I think that just the relationships that I built, that I think that's what really latched me onto it. And then being able to just spread that word and watching others develop relationships, that maybe people that I knew really well, becoming friends with, a third person that I got to know through F3, that's a lot of it too. It's like there was, as I got to know folks within F3, I'm like, I know a lot of people in the Bennington area and former friends that would really love these other guys. They
Mm-hmm.
get to know them, could benefit from F3
Yeah.
and their relationships with other PAX members. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love it. It's so cool because I think it clicks, for all of us at some point,
Yeah.
right? But it's a little bit different
Yeah.
timing. But I do think, and I think Stripes would agree, right? I think, he sort of was helping bring Bennington or,
Mhm.
bring F3 into Bennington, but then having guys like you, there from that start of the launch of Badger, being able to just really, I mean, the growth in Bennington, it's just been awesome to see.
Yeah, I
And
mean, folks like yourself and even a lot of the other, then Straps probably kill me for this too, but a lot of the Elkhorn guys and stuff like that had some
Yeah.
impact too on growing that into the
Mm.
Bennington area. But no doubt about it, Stripes was
Yeah.
was kind of the first wave, and really, I owe it to him for bringing
Yeah.
obviously me into F3, but for bringing F3 to Bennington too, and we were sort of, myself and some others were sort of maybe that second or third
Yeah.
wave that we just know a lot of people around the area, and we were
Yeah.
able to kind of help expand it. And Stripes encouraged us to do that too. It
Yeah.
wasn't something that maybe at first as a new F3 member you think of doing, right? Like you're just
Mhm.
trying to get your own feet wet
Figure it
and
out,
just
yeah.
figure it out. And he made it a point to really push us to just
Yeah.
put the feelers out there and,
Yeah.
and let's get this thing going. And it's blown up. It's been awesome.
Well, and just so we're clear, Stripes, because now I know you're listening. I was the first Bennington guy ever because we've established I live in Bennington now. No, I think it's just so cool, and I love, just like you said, you just see this cascade, and now all of these guys, and I would be curious because the other part of this, right, is sort of impact on your other relationships, so like relationship with your wife and your
Mhm.
kids, and
Mhm.
talk us through what's your family structure now. Remind me how many kids you have.
Yeah, my wife and I have been married 20 years next year.
Wow.
So yeah, we have 3 kids. We have a freshman boy,
Okay.
a 7th grade girl, and a 4th grade girl. So we have
Okay.
3 children. And yeah, and F3 has been great. I mean, you hear these stories all the time within
Mhm.
F3, but just the responsibility that you share with these other PAX members as far when it comes to family is such a support system. When you can offer support, gain support from others, but it's just really boosted my family life as
Yeah.
well. I mean, just getting up in the morning and getting your day started when you come home and send your kids off to school.
Yeah.
You're not just laying around. You're energetic. Your energy's moving, and I
Mhm.
just I love that part of it for sure. Mhm.
Have you brought your son to a workout? Has he come
I
out?
haven't brought him. I brought my daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's my youngest daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my son, as far as freshman sports goes, he's like
He's pretty
he's
busy.
usually at the high school anyway by 6 o'clock, 6:15, weightlifting and whatnot. So they keep them really busy.
Yeah. Does he play football?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we've
Yeah.
probably seen him out there practicing.
Oh, for sure.
I feel
Yeah.
like a few workouts
Yeah.
with teams out there
Yeah, I
practicing.
love those mornings
Yeah.
when you got the football team practicing on the field. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're up there listening to them. I love those mornings.
And I hear, who was telling me this? That maybe one of the Bennington coaches has come to F3 or
Yeah.
but maybe had done like led an F3 workout.
Well, yeah, as you know, first base
Yeah.
is the Bennington High School boys basketball coach.
Yeah.
And then Cam Linhart, who believe his name's Denominator,
Uh-huh.
he started coming. I believe first base EH'd him.
Okay.
And yeah, so he now keep in mind as a coach, it's hard, right? When
Yeah.
during your season to make it too much. But I believe that he'd been coming on Saturdays
Okay.
and had picked up some ideas.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then my son came home and was talking about a certain exercise. And I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like, he said like Merkin or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad, you know what those are? I'm like, oh, I know what you're doing. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
Coach
awesome.
Cam's got you doing some F3 stuff. So that was
That's
awesome to hear. That's cool to
really
see.
cool. What about impact on your marriage at all? Have you noticed any impact there just from hearing guys and maybe, I don't know, I feel like we try to talk about like the concentrica and just trying to encourage guys really to focus inward on that marriage relationship.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, my wife and I have been fortunate to have just a great marriage, our 20 years. And, we dated 4 or 5 prior to that. So we started dating when we were freshmen in college. So
Okay.
we've been together a really long time, and it's just I just love hearing about how other people handle their relationships
Yeah.
and how it differs from the way I handle my relationship with my wife. And fitness has always been a big part of her life as well. So it's something we share that's in common that we can talk about, and we'll tell each other how sore we are
Yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah, I've picked up a lot of just little tidbits from other packs about their marriage and how, and it may not be anything earth shattering or
Right.
earth moving, but
Right.
just simple things about how picking up aroround the house or something like that. You hear that stuff all the time in COTs. A lot of COTs are based around relationship building, and even more importantly for me, relationship maintaining, right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoy. I always just try to take one thing out of each COT, and whether that's to a relationship, to your kids, to your wife, to your own parents, to socially, just take that one thing out of there and practice it.
Yeah.
And practice it and see if it sticks.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think oftentimes I'll go home and share some earth shattering thing that I've heard. My wife's like, I've been telling you that for years, and I'm like, well, it feels like I heard it for the first time, What do they like that you're in this cult, or does your family, are they sort of like, Dad does this weird thing, or they're supportive, or what's been
yeah, they love it. Yeah. They make fun of me a lot. I'm sure it's like anybody
do
else.
They call you Bernie?
Oh yeah. I think that my wife loves that I, am up and at it and get going in the morning. And she knows that I've taken time to explain to her what F3 really is. And faith has always been a deep part in her roots as well. And I think that she's appreciated what it's done for me there as well. But my kids, they always want to make sure that I go work out on Friday mornings because I'll bring them Starbucks home. So that's about the only thing they're worried about.
Nice.
But Thursday nights are always like, you're working out tomorrow, right, Dad?
I get that too. I used to bring donuts like multiple times a week, and then my daughter, who's only 10, was like, couldn't we get diabetes if we eat donuts? So I'm like, okay, sure, fine. So now it's one day a week, but I still get sometimes I'll come home and they're like, oh man, you didn't bring them today. And I'm like, well, I'm still posted,
Hey, are you the type of guy that likes to get up early in the winter to battle your jester? Do you love listening to people drone on and on and on about COVID in the gloom? Would you trust your vision to a guy nicknamed Cataracts? Well, if the answer to any of these questions is yes, fellas, you have bigger problems than you think. Dr. Cataracts, aka Dr. Wolf, can't solve all of your problems, but he can certainly help you solve the problems related to your eye health and vision. You will find many F3 principles throughout his practice. Check him out today at Exclusively Eye Care.
What, I would be curious on that third F side, the faith piece. Talk us through kind of would love to hear kind of what's been your journey just throughout life with faith.
Well, I grew up in a Christian home and grew up Presbyterian.
Okay.
My wife also grew up Presbyterian. And so there was no clash there. Like obviously when we get married, I know that can impact some marriages early on, right? When there's some sacrifices that have to be made one way or another there. But we've obviously kids being busy and on the weekends and stuff, don't make it to church as much as we'd like, but we certainly go every time we can. And so, I would say she grew up in a little more consistent Christian growing than I did. When we were young, very busy, and we'd have been about 15 miles from a church, so we would have quite the journey into town. But for sure, I would say that we've always been Presbyterian, and we'd gone to Presbyterian churches just recently. About I'm gonna say 3 years ago, maybe not even that long ago. We switched over to Stonebridge Church and have really been enjoying that. And I would also say that church also sort of revived our kids a little bit. It's very upbeat. Seems to keep your attention a little bit.
There's some other F3 guys.
There's a lot,
right? Quite a few,
There's quite a bit.
Where's that one at?
It's on like 156th and all Fort.
Okay. Yeah.
So Yeah, I see F3 guys there all the time. There's a few different services, but yeah, certainly there's a lot of people there, but I see a lot of F3 folks there.
What do you think in terms of that third F within F3? How has that helped with your faith?
Yeah. So I would say it's just um as I've been in F3, I found myself going to church prior to F3.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, a lot of times it was just, I felt there was times when I went to church just because I felt like it made my wife happy.
Oh, yeah.
And I found myself spacing off, not really paying attention.
Yeah.
And I know this is small, but after I joined F3, I found myself paying attention in church. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of it was I was always trying to come up with COTs, right?
Yeah.
But who cares? If that's what keeps your attention, and that I'm sitting there taking notes. I remember one time I was on my phone typing in, my wife's like, "Get off your phone."
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm like writing out my COT on it. But so I found a lot of my topics and things like that from church. And
that's cool.
And I don't know if I would have done that otherwise. Would I have been sitting there paying that much attention and thinking deeply about what, he's trying to tell me? And so I found some benefit there as well. And I find myself, I've one other thing with the third F that I found myself I was never really good at was praying. And I think what I've found is because I never practiced it, right? I never did it that much. And when you're praying every morning at a beatdown, you get more comfortable with it. And I found myself praying more. So
that's awesome.
I thought that was pretty cool too.
I love it. And I do the same thing at church, and I get the same like nudge, like get off your phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, look, it's really, I'm taking notes. But
used to be I was putting my Sunday football bets in.
Or I'd be like, here, I'll take the baby and we'll go play in the cry room or whatever. It's so interesting because I'm doing this Whetstone podcast, right, with Dread and Dark Helmet, and I'll always sort of have this like, well, how do you develop that, right? And their answer is like more reps, like, and so like really like any skill or thing we want to get better at, we just need more reps, right? And so it's like all of these different opportunities within F3. Prayer is a great example.
Reps come in Merkins, reps come in prayer, reps come in just taking tidbits out of COTs, and I agree with that.
I love it. I would be curious on the other kind of community service side with Third F. Have you had gotten involved in anything there? Have you had time, I suppose?
I have done a few things. I try to help out with what was the one where we're painting houses and
brush up.
Brush up. And then just more like I really found, like the Chris Gradiville stuff and those I love attending those.
We going Thursday?
What's that?
You're going to go down Thursday?
Yeah. And I that one was really, I didn't get the chance to know Chris, but I'm really good friends with Cupid, and their family was extremely close, and just hearing about his story and I'll be honest with you, I wish I would have got to know him because he sounds a lot like myself, and in his F3 journey, just the stories he always told Cupid, and I really wish I would have got to know that guy for sure. Yeah.
You do a lot of stuff, because when I think about community service, right, just any way that we're giving back to the community, right? So with youth sports and with your role in the Booster Club, right? So you're doing some stuff, right, to give back to the community, but you use this word passion earlier. I'm curious, what is it about some of those things that sort of drive you or sort of create that passion? What makes you want to give back in those ways?
Yeah, I think passion, a lot of the things that I have passion for are things that I had passion for growing up.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And I remember growing up and I had everything at my fingertips, even though I was in a small community, and a lot of those things I had at my fingertips came from someone else's passion, right? It wasn't something I created. And so I love seeing, much like F3, the Bennington Youth Sports Organizations just explode. And a lot of it has to do with population growth, but you still have to keep those interests. And again, I have a passion for sports. I have a passion for youth sports. And so I find myself migrating towards these organizations that help out my own passion. So I guess maybe that sounds a little self-centered, but I feel like if I'm not donating my time and my efforts towards something that I have passion for, I'm not sure I would do it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I love and I get what you're saying, right? Where that could sort of sound self-serving, but I think one of the things I've struggled with is I've tried to sort of find the perfect thing that I'm supposed to be spending my time doing, and then you sort of get this analysis paralysis. And so if
Yeah.
you just, how simple, right? What were the things that sort of got me energized as a kid, and then how can I give back to those areas now?
Yeah.
And I feel like you're working within your skill set, and you
Yeah.
get to enjoy it too.
Yeah,
right?
it's the same reason you throw yourself on the Q schedule, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you have a passion for these beatdowns. You have a passion for helping others and seeing others progress. That's the same reason you go throw yourself on a Q schedule to lead a workout, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just because I like burpees, I like to see how
Yeah, I know you
how
do.
many guys will do burpees. No, I love it. I think it's so cool. I guess, as we're thinking about, leadership, then, kind of invigorated male community leadership, right? Our mission for F3. I mean, not only did you lead just getting other guys to come and sort of engaging, kind of giving it away, but you got to launch a new site.
I did. Yeah.
Talk us through that, because I feel like at the time it was sort of like, do you want to take over? Do you want to launch new?
Yeah,
talk us through that.
that's exactly right. That's how we, and again, Stripes approached me, and I'm sure there was others that were involved too. But Stripes gave me the option of, do you want to start your own site, or would you like to maybe possibly pick up a flag like Badger Point or something like that?
Yeah.
And I immediately, because I had seen one of the things that early on, again, I was early in F3 when Badger Point started, but I remember just seeing how proud Stripes was to take that flag. And I remember thinking like, man, is that big of a deal? And shortly thereafter, I realized how big of a deal it was.
Yeah.
And so it from when I was given those two options, it was a no-brainer for me that I wanted to start my own site. And so sort of really just, and lucky for me, and a lot of the good sites within Bennington that hold, the areas that you can hold workouts in weren't taken yet. And so, I launched the Bullpen in July of last year. And that was super rewarding too. It was, you can kind of make it your own. I really enjoyed the whole process. It blew my mind how many people are involved in something like that. It just, from the surface, it's like, well, it seems simple. You pick a date, you pick a time, people show up, and you get this cool shovel, and off you go. But no, there's a lot of work and effort put into it, and super impressed. Yeah, it was very, very rewarding. And then it's even more rewarding to pass that flag on to somebody else and see what Slim Jim and Tooth Fairy are doing with that site. And again, I think that's just escalated them too within their F3 journey. And it's so fun to go back and just see how they've changed it and into their own ways.
Well, they're giving away baseballs.
Yeah, no, they're giving away baseballs.
Autographed F3 baseball. I got one in my truck.
And he changed the Smurf Smurf run route too. So they're making it their own, which is great. Yeah, great to see.
It is so cool. I think about like these moments where you don't fully realize like the impact, but like, so Paradise, right, was a site that I got to launch, and looking at it now, there's been 9 sort of generations of site queues. And so you'll have that someday with the Bullpen. And it's just, it's kind of mind blowing to think of all the men that might show up there and be impacted in some sort of way. And, because you took the chance to plant the flag.
Yeah. And you look at, it's funny. I go back to the Bullpen and there's so many people that I don't even know that are at the site. When you launch your own sites, it's mostly people that start out early.
To support you
exactly. Come to support you, which is great. And then it grows from there. And I'll go to a workout there now, and I'll make it a point to go, get to know these folks, and they're Bennington people. And it's like, that's even better. It's more Bennington people I don't even know that are joining. And so,
we've also, and it's such a great site, lots of room for activities, right? Because I think we've done IPC there, we've done Apex there. So it's really, and it's maybe the darkest. Are we calling it the darkest?
Well, Wild Kingdom would disagree with that. But I just call it the darkest site in Northwest Bennington.
What do you think? Like when I look at Bennington, like you're driving by and there's all these neighborhoods, like
under development now. And I mean, I don't know, where do you see things going?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna just keep blowing up. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just I'm sure you saw it within Elkhorn and
Yeah.
other parts of Omaha that have impacted F3 too. But I mean, there, as you can see, the development in the area is just, and we've got another high school being built, and so
Yeah.
it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
And so, I think that that is, Bennington's important to F3 just as F3 is really important to Bennington as well.
Yeah.
So I would see that someday there being sites in Bennington. Well, shoot, there almost already is.
Every day of the week,
I guess.
yeah.
Every day of the week. So
Stripes, I think he won't stop until there's at least one every day, and at some point maybe two a day. Right? It's so cool, and I think also seeing that connection with then Valley, right, and sort of the Bennington guys experiencing that growth, and then being able to support Speed Bump, and then now you've got Hotwire with the bridge, and I mean, it's just so cool the way it's all connected.
I love that. Again, that was one of my favorite things early on, is getting to know all those Valley folks as well. And it's, like I said, it's just cool to see them all come together and really expand that region too. And like you said, it takes good leaders, just like we had with Stripes, they've got with Speed Bump and the whole Rally of Valley, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's cool that they got their own little slogan, and that it's really growing as well, because I love going out there to work out, and it's a growing community as well.
Eventually we need to get further north to like Blair. I don't know if we hit Arlington on the way.
Yeah, we get to Arlington or Fort Calhoun. You watch. I mean, it's
Well, I know we got Splinter. He used to be a West Side guy, but he lives in Blair.
Yeah, I'm sure you could make it happen.
He's offered up his property, right? We need a high school coach, right, to be
there. You go. That's right. You got to build on the field.
What I guess I would be curious. When you think about leadership, and maybe F3, maybe not, but any advice for guys that are leading a site, or maybe just, as they're leading families or in their organizations, when you think about a leader, what do you think is key that they're doing?
Yeah. Leadership, to me it has always been learned. I felt like I've always been, I enjoy leadership more by example. Okay. If that makes sense. Maybe than the chatter.
Sure.
And I think that, well, for example, just starting a site, you establish that leadership early on. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's just important with leadership is finding what you're not maybe as strong at. And I've done this professionally, that I felt like this is how I've succeeded is finding, because I'm not great at many things, right? And so I need to find folks that are great at those things that maybe I lack talent in or skill sets in, and coaching those folks up. So I've always found pleasure in taking what I know and hiring people that know better than I to accomplish those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So so kind of elevate yourself by putting great people around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What, as you think about being a site Q or launching a site, anything in that space, anything that you learned through that process you would share with guys?
I think that, don't rush your launch with your pop-ups. Use your pop-ups and, and really establish the groundwork for what you want that site to look like. And also think about your logo, think about your statement or whatever you want to call it, and really develop some identity for the site. Because if you think about, there's going to be a lot of, the sites are growing like crazy. And I think the coolest part about sites is each one has their own identity. So I would say, just think really long and hard about what you want the identity of your site to look like.
Yeah. We had early on, a couple guys that went like a lot. Like Nodos was one of our redwoods that launched Futurama, where the Granville thing is at. And when he launched that site, he had this like page and a half, sort of like there's this statue and it's pointing to the west, which is to the future. And I think just really, like you said, just really invest some time and thought into that, because it ends up being really cool when you sort of look back and you see all these guys that have come and even contributed, made that even a bigger sort of mission.
And then like you said, there's so many people you can lean on to, especially, I was, I wasn't even a a full year into F3 when I
Mm-hmm.
launched the Bullpen. So I leaned on a lot of other
Yeah.
people for advice, you included. And,
Yeah.
I remember when
The
we were thinking of the
AI
logo, the
logo.
AI and the logos.
Yeah, I love a good AI. Yeah.
My phone was just dinging like crazy. The
Yeah.
plague, the plague, the plague, and all these different logos. But I mean, honestly, I appreciated it because, you don't really know when if you've never launched a site before, there you get a lot of things thrown at you.
Yeah.
And, there's just little things like that. I've mentioned this in COTs before. In my COTs is I've been a part of a lot of groups, and whether they're volunteering or just professional groups, F3 blows my mind that it can be all males
Mm-hmm.
and be this successful.
Still effective. Yeah.
And it's because it's leaderships of, from folks like yourself and Tater and all the rest of the F3 Omaha leadership roles. And, obviously wait time, bringing it to Omaha and establishing that strong foundation. It's really, really well structured.
Yeah. Most of the meetings I'm on at work are all women, and then I'm the only, I'm a male nurse by background, so that kind of fits. But I'm sort of like, this is different, But what I guess since you launched the Bullpen, talk us through the name. How did you land on that? What does sort of the Bullpen mean? Like, what's that sort of?
So the way we came about it, or I came about it, was passion for sports, right?
Yeah.
And so the location was, it's around a football field, a baseball field, a soccer field. It's got it all, right? Yeah. And then what I really landed on it was, I knew someday that I would be passing this on.
Yeah.
And so the Bullpen is consistent with a reliever, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're being replaced by another pitcher who's in the bullpen warming up is kind of the way I came to it.
That's
and
awesome.
I bounced some ideas off others as well, but I think you included, but that's kind of where I landed it.
Sort of this idea that we're always preparing those relievers to come and take a leadership role. Love that.
Yep.
Ties into that rotating leadership core principle.
Exactly right.
Well, I love hearing your story, and I think just, knowing who you are today and the impact that you're having, I would be curious, are there any moments or lessons learned throughout life and just sort of asking you to maybe dig a little bit deeper on, like, what are some of those key moments that you feel like you really learned from or grew from? Anything that you'd be willing to
within share? F3, is that kind of what you're talking about?
Just within life, and for me, and not everybody, for me, I think of my journey with drugs and alcohol and just sort of that propelling me, getting clean to be a better man. But I don't think that's part of your journey, but I don't know if there's anything that you've realized in life looking back that, like, man, this was really impactful and other guys could maybe learn from.
Yeah, I think that for me, and we alluded to it earlier, is again, I've always had a passion for fitness. But I didn't know that. Honestly, my passion wasn't that strong.
Sure.
I was pulling the wool over my own eyes until I really got into F3 and found out kind of how it could be, right? Like you're doing these beatdowns early on in your F3 career, and then you, like I said, you move on to pre-runs and Smurfs and stuff. He's like, well, there's a lot more too. I could go a lot harder. Yeah. I could go a lot harder than I was before. And then furthermore, into the fellowship space is, I'd always had I had a lot of friends, but they were all sort of in different cliques. And, and as your kids get busier and whatnot, you're not allowed to spend all that time with friends. And so this is like a whole new fraternity per se, right? Yeah. It's just a whole new group of friends that you're able to lean on. And then I would say, as far as the faith part is just, again, focusing on every morning I'm out there, we're focusing on prayer. And for me, that, again, I thought before I'd prayed enough. Yeah. I thought about church enough. I was practicing enough, but not really.
Go a little harder.
Close, And then I would say that I'm probably getting away from your question here a little bit. I apologize,
you're
but
good.
I didn't have a good answer, so sorry. I'm going.
Yeah, I like it.
But I would say then, really stepping outside of my comfort zone would be the Q sources.
Oh yeah.
And, I've been, Milk Carton launched the Crucible.
Yeah.
I had been to Paradise and been to those Q sources. that was the first time queuing at Paradise was the first time I'd led a Q source, which was eye opening.
Yeah.
Again, found myself preparing, right? A lot more than I ever had,
Yep.
getting those reps in.
Yeah.
And then I've been going to the Crucible and have been enjoying that Q sources as well. It really, really makes you think a lot deeper than you probably would otherwise at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So
and I think this maybe my favorite thing about F3 is just we always have so much going on, but we meet every guy where they're at in whatever season of life, right? So like some guys come in and they're hungry for Q source or book studies or that faith piece. Other guys come in and they need to progress through, the fitness and the fellowship and then the faith, but it's sort of always available to every guy at whatever pace.
I think you're going to hit your low hanging fruit right away.
Yeah.
And for me, that was fitness.
Yep.
So I think you're going to hit that, and then it's naturally going to progress on you in the other areas as well. And that's what's cool about it to me is you'll end up one way or another, advancing in every sector of F3. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I have to do so Stripes was a guest interviewer on one of these episodes and he brought this new segment. So I have to do this. It's the Stripes Finder rapid fire question. So I've got a few questions. Just give me the answer that comes to mind. Great. So these are pretty simple. Could be fun. But what's an F3 site that you've never been to that you want to go to someday?
The farm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I possibly am doing that Friday.
Friday. So, yeah. I've heard rumblings of that.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite exercise?
My the when the balls to the wall and the shoulder push-ups what do you call them?
Oh, Australian chicken peckers or Australian?
Yes, chicken peckers. There it is. Yes, chicken peckers. Yes.
That's one of my favorites. What's your favorite exercise?
Merkins.
Okay. Why? Why do you like Merkins?
I think it's just the Murphing that I enjoy.
Standard Merkins.
No, I actually enjoy the diamond Merkins. I think there's more. I think you get more out of them.
Yeah, you get a little more chest. Yeah. What about who do you think puts on the most difficult cue?
Ooh, might be you.
Oh man,
because of the burpees.
Yeah, I could see. I thought.
Gosh.
There's a lot of guys. I think pantyhose. I'm sure that first. Was
he puts it on you too. I mean, street dance put the worst beat down on.
Oh, and he always does the cocaine bear crawls.
He did. Too. Yeah, we were running up just things that are unreasonable. Street dance.
Yeah, street dance. Yeah, be more reasonable.
Gosh, I don't know. I think it's you just with the burpees, but gosh, is there someone else I'm missing?
You're just saying that because I'm here.
I'm not. That's why I'm trying not to.
What about what's one of your favorite F3 nicknames?
Ooh. I'm trying to think.
Ones that you.
This is tough. These are supposed to be rapid fire.
Yeah, I don't
questions.
know. Yeah, I didn't write them down. I mean, so I can't remember.
Mayday wrecked a plane.
Yeah.
Not many people have done that.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that actually worked out. I got all the details from him when I did his interview, and it's mind blowing that he survived.
It shouldn't be my favorite name, but it's an interesting story.
I always like.
Who's yours?
Oh man, So when back in the day, Dredd and Dark Helmet used to do these podcasts, and they would talk about nicknames, and they had named this guy who was a dentist, a prison dentist, and they named him Busted Grills. And I always thought that was funny, or like Assless Chaps was another name. I think my favorite F3 Omaha nickname. Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to.
Gosh, that's tough.
Yeah. There's some good ones. I think My Maria is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good good call.
My Maria's is really good. Yeah, I like when people sing after it too.
I remember the names that I've given. So I named a guy Frosted Tips one time just because I had that name and I wanted to give it to somebody, and he was a young kid from California, and so I just thought Frosted Tips is his name. It's Wentworth's son, actually, if you know Wentworth.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I think those are all the rapid fire questions. Stripes will probably send me a message.
Let me know. Didn't do very well on those.
Anything else that maybe we didn't cover that you would want to share with guys listening?
I don't think so, Plague. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really, the last question where we like to end is just current state, current life, whatever's going on. Where do you need prayers or encouragement or support?
I've just been super fortunate,
Yeah.
in my entire life, really.
Yeah.
I did just start a new career.
Okay.
So, I was, there's been my family's had a bank for about 7 years, and we decided to grow it and expand it out here into the Elkhorn, Bennington, Omaha areas. So, I quit what I was doing the last 18 years, which was also sort of in the financial and banking realm. So it's not like I'm doing something completely different, but it's the first time I ever bet on myself. And so, it's been a little worrisome, but so far so good. But,
sort of like owning your own business kind of stressors of like,
I just a little stressed there, but, other than that, just prayers to keep progressing in my 3 Fs, honestly, especially as the winter months are coming and it's harder to get there and get out and get going. So, I other than that, things are pretty good.
Okay.
Plague. So
that's good.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. Well, we'll be praying for your back that stays away.
Yeah. Well, if it happens again, I know how to get it fixed. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Such a positive outlook. Well, this
Yeah.
has been great. And just truly thank you for just your friendship, your leadership. And, I know guys will be impacted by your stories. So
Likewise, Plague. Appreciate you. Yeah.
we'll do a little Nemo to wrap us up here. I'll start us off. Brandon Fleehardy, 39, the Plague.
Red Ehlers, 42, Bernie.
And I've always tried to get you to do the Bernie dance move, but it's kind of
Like I tell Truly, you started that from day one. Now you have to do it every time.
With the can. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Well, appreciate your time, man.
All right. Appreciate you.
Scars on our hands, hope in our chest. We're not defined by the weight of the test. Brothers in step, we carry the flame. Different roads, but the heart beats the same. Every man's got a story to tell. From the valley low to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man's got a story inside. Standing strong, we won't hide. Every man, every man's got a story. We've been broken, we've been bruised, but we rise again and we don't get to choose. Through the fire, through the fight, every man's story burns in the night. Scars on our hands, hope in our chest. We're not defined by the weight of the test. Brothers in step, we carry the flame. Different roads, but the heart beats the same. On a story to tell, from the valley low to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man's got a story inside. Different roads, but the heart beats the same. Every man's got a story to tell. From the valley low to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man's got a story inside. Standing strong, we won't hide. Every man, every man's got a story. Every man's got a story. Voices rise like thunder, they roll. Truth in the pain, it's shaping the soul. Chains may rattle, but they break in time. Every man's story is yours and mine. From the struggle to the glory, every man's got a story. In the dark or in the light, we keep marching through the night. Every man's got a story inside. Every man's got a story to tell. From the valley low to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man's got a story inside. Standing strong, we won't hide. Every man, every man's got a story. Every man's got a story to tell. From the valley low to the mountaintop, yeah. Every man's got a story inside. Standing strong, we won't